Today, I'll be sharing reviews from people in their 50s who were laid off. Number 1. Restructuring is really booming these days. I worked at a company that created manuals for electronics and other products, and at one point I was a department head with around 20 subordinates. But when the company's management started to falter, layoffs were carried out, and my department was effectively dissolved. I was forced to retire just before turning 52. The real problem came afterward. I had contributed to the company's IT initiatives and had a strong track record, yet finding a new job was extremely difficult. Most of the positions I was introduced to through connections offered less than half of my previous salary, and some were as low as entry level or even below. All the experience and career I had built seemed completely irrelevant. I remember tears streaming down my face, feeling like society didn't need me at all. Number 2. I'm 51 and working in a mid-sized construction company, and I feel like I might be facing a layoff. Every day I'm anxious and losing confidence. For the past year and a half, I haven't had any active projects. I've been stuck at headquarters with nothing to do, constantly worried about my boss's gaze. Since I'm a full-time employee, I can't be fired for a simple reason. But when projects do come up, younger employees around 40 are often made site managers, leaving me sidelined. I might be disliked by my superiors because I'm difficult to manage. I've thought about changing jobs, but realistically, it doesn't seem possible. All I can do is endure the stress, worry, and wait for a possible layoff. Number 3. Starting over in life after being laid off at 52. Once I was pushed out of the company, I realized I had no real skills or qualifications. My job search was a complete failure. I didn't even receive rejection letters. Maybe I had assumed that being a man would somehow work in my favor. But in reality, no company was willing to hire someone in his 50s with no formal qualifications. I lived on unemployment benefits and dipped into my savings while searching for work, yet most companies didn't even bother to respond. A year passed and my unemployment benefits ran out. Determined to change things, I went independent and became a freelance writer, but then COVID hit and my income dropped sharply. Life really doesn't go the way you expect. Number 4. There were layoffs at a company I used to work for. The experience was so awful that even now, after leaving my temp position, I refuse to buy that company's products. One example, a quiet man in his 50s was suddenly transferred to a department called something like the Career Development section. Under the pretense of improving communication skills, he was made to do things like imitate a bird. It was nothing but meaningless humiliation. Looking back, it was what people now call a banishment room, a tactic to pressure employees into resigning voluntarily so the company could reduce severance payments. Number 5. Reskilling people in their 50s and 60s often feels meaningless. They may still be in their prime working years, but unless someone is exceptionally sharp, not many companies are eager to actively hire candidates in their 50s or 60s mid-career. Even outplacement support is often outsourced to consulting firms, and it ends with the company simply claiming, "We provided support." If reskilling is truly important, it should start in people's 40s. Companies should also allow side jobs as a stepping stone for future career shifts. The government and corporations should openly acknowledge that the lifetime employment system is coming to an end, instead of hesitating to say it. Deep down, we all know what's really being planned: restructuring people in their 50s. Number 6. My husband was laid off at 54. I had been a full-time housewife for nearly 30 years, and the shock left me unable to function for a while. Now I'm torn between two thoughts. I need to help my husband and start working myself. And maybe I should leave him and live on my own. Our son is already working and lives with us, and our daughter has secured a job starting next spring, so I'm not worried about the children. But my husband's 83-year-old mother also lives with us. She's still active and constantly moving around, and the situation has been weighing heavily on me. Part of me even thinks about taking whatever savings I have and running back to my parents' home. Number 7. Once you're encouraged to resign, mentally you may already feel like you've left, but sometimes the right move is to hold on. A company isn't your family, and it's not like you necessarily admire the CEO, right? So fine, Show up from 9 to 5, and simply fulfill your obligation of warming the chair. After all, you've already given the company plenty through unpaid overtime in the past. Think of it as collecting with interest on what you're owed. No, seriously, open your eyes wider. While employees are being pushed out, executive salaries often keep rising. You're allowed to shout, "Give me a break," if you feel that way. Number 8. I'm a young employee working at a major insurance company, and honestly, about half of the employees in the 50s at my workplace barely seem to work. After clocking in, they slowly read the morning paper and browse news websites. I often see them taking naps during the day. They don't work overtime, of course, but they invite us out for drinks at the same pace as everyone else, which means I end up coming in early the next morning to catch up. They say things like, "We worked hard when we were young, yet they now earn nearly 10 times what they did back then." But if that's true, shouldn't they have been paid properly at the time? This generational frustration sometimes makes me consider changing jobs. Number 9. I work in manufacturing, and we're so short-staffed that layoffs aren't even a possibility. Once you're in your 50s, quitting isn't exactly easy either, so the only real option is to navigate carefully and try not to wreck your health before retirement. In my department alone, we've lost 3 people over the past 2 years. One retired after being rehired post-retirement. The other 2, one in their 20s and one in their late 30s, both left for new jobs. We received replacements after another department was shut down, but it's still not enough. At the end of this month, all 4 of our foreign technical trainees are returning to their home countries. There won't be any more after that. Honestly, I almost envy companies that can afford to carry out layoffs. Number 10. I'm a woman in my 50s, and I was dismissed under the pretext of COVID-related restructuring. After about a month and a half of negotiations, I secured compensation equivalent to 1 year's salary. When I was hired, the company had promised that I would not be laid off. Despite that, I was suddenly handed a notice of termination. I asked for the dismissal to be withdrawn and entered into discussions with the company, but they refused. Eventually, both sides hired lawyers and began formal negotiations. Unfortunately, I was not reinstated. However, I received a settlement that exceeded 1 year's salary, including damages. I felt nothing but anxiety and uncertainty throughout the process, but I'm truly glad I consulted a lawyer. If you are suddenly told you're being laid off, I hope my experience can serve as a reference. That concludes 10 reviews about layoffs in your 50s. In recent years, we've also been hearing more about layoffs despite profitability. Any major corporation can face layoffs. That's why it's crucial to continuously build your unique skills and experience every day. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.